Well, hello and welcome to Rolynn's Reviews. So glad to have you with me. Uh, as you fill up the chat room, please do me one small favor. If you will, hit that little like button for me. All right. And we will get started. Okay. Now, you've heard me. How you doing, Chubbs? You've heard me talk about various topics as it relates to, what's going on in the community. And you know me, I try to be a straight shooter. Blackson is still busy, so I can't catch up with that jackrabbit. So maybe he'll be on with me, excuse me, tomorrow. He told me that Sundays he's always free. So let's keep our fingers crossed. I'm pretty sure he'll be with us tomorrow. Again, hit that like button as you come in and let me know what your thoughts are about this subject matter. And again, what I love about this channel is we have nice adult conversations. Do we agree on everything? No, we do not. But most of us are older. So if I have a different opinion about something than, say, Tina, hey, it's fine. We don't hate each other. We don't call each other names. It's okay. All right. So again, go ahead, folks. Do me a favor and hey, James, where have you been, guy? Um, hit that like button for me, please. Uh, it seems that my last few videos, people are watching the videos, but they're not hitting the like button. That's why I normally try to get to at least 100 while I'm live because people just forget. And YouTube, it's not going to trigger the YouTube logarithm. And yeah, James, yes, I'm an avid follower of Dr. Sowell. You've heard me say that frequently. Here's one of his books. He's written over 40, but God knows I just don't have time, unfortunately, to read them all. So hit the like button for me, folks. Share this content out. If you have Truth Social, if you have Facebook, Instagram, do me a favor and share it out. James, yes, the audio books are on YouTube. He's interviewed a lot. I forgot the name of that channel, but anyway, he's on there all the time. I just hate that he's such a vital resource that all of us could learn so much from. I just hate that he's not being utilized. And even in his 90s, he's still pretty sharp. So I'll go ahead and do the roll call. If you'd like for me to call your name, just say hello. Type an emoji. If you don't type anything, I can't tell if you're here. All I can do is just see that there's a number. All right, here we go. Pinky is here. How are you? Isaiah is here. Great. Mayor Chubbs. Hello. How are you, Mayor? How are you, Chubbs? Florida, of course, who runs the channel. She's always here. Thank you, love. Tina is here. James, where have you been? Since we haven't seen you the last few videos, we have another James to join the channel. So we did miss you. Linda, how are you? I'm sending love as well. Again, I do not take your attendance here on the channel lightly. There are thousands of other content creators. So you're here. That means a lot to me. Pinky says Black American culture is not trash when it's American and it's enjoyed worldwide. We have degenerate behaviors just as all cultures, but for some reason, people are hyper focused on us. Okay, so Pinky has given her opinion. Everyone else, chime in. Tell me, what are your thoughts? Chubb says, knee is going good, hopefully. I'll be back totally soon. Chubbs, keep doing your physical therapy, love. Just do what they say, even if it hurts. Do the best that you can. All right, here we go. Rolynn, Mod Squad, and Chatters. Okay, Pinky. So James says so easily replaced. James, you haven't been replaced, love. We just added another James because we didn't know what happened to you. All right. Here we go. Like the Highlander can only be one James. Exactly. Uh yes, just do what they tell you to do. I know it may be painful. Pinky said, and the people talking and watching us need to check their own ish. All right. So, Pinky, you know, you've been here for a while. You know that I'm an avid follower of Dr. Thomas Sowell. And boy, I tell you, he really hits the nail on the head. And I also, there are several other people, younger people who are starting to listen to Dr. Sowell. And how you doing, Chris? Good afternoon. Baldwin Birds, good afternoon. And so his message is getting out. Now we know. So Pinky says, the rest of you just type what your opinion is. Pinky has given me her opinion. Pinky, you think that people are hyper focused on Black American culture? I think that was your thought process. Correct me if I'm wrong, love. Charge it to my head and not my heart. Sometimes Thomas does, and that's good, but the self-hate won't be accepted. All right, who's doing the self-hating, Pinky? Mayor Dr. Sowell has been around. Yeah, he's like 91 or 2. And he's such a vital resource that no one uses. So if you were going to stick someone in front of Black America, here's your leader. Why not Dr. Sowell? I mean, he is brilliant. Big Cheese, how are you doing, love? The Black American FBA culture is the most influential and greatest in the world. The Black American culture, FBA, is responsible for 50,000 patents, including inventing the cell phone. Okay, Big Cheese has given us his opinion, all right. And you're right about that cell phone. And a lot of people aren't aware of that, Big Cheese. People calling their own culture trash, look around the world, find better. Yeah, so Pinky, there's just one segment. Like you said, every culture has a portion of, so it's not the entire, if you're understanding what I'm saying. We're talking about the part that is denigrated, and who is lifted up, who is placed in front of us, all right, as leaders. Look at prime example. How you doing, Tina? Right, Mayor? Prime example, when Kamala Harris, the Curry Queen, when she was still running for president, she didn't go get a scholar to talk to her voters. Who did she go get? Meg the Stallion, Truth Bomb. All right. Think she had Usher to come out and say something for her. So again, to me, Meg the Stallion is an entertainer. Celebrities, right, who she paid millions and millions of dollars, and she still lost the election. But all I'm saying is, if you look at what Malcolm X said in 1965, it still holds true. And you like that one, Linda? Yeah. Yeah, I guess she's going back to being Indian. Thank you, James. Is he 95 now? I know he's up there. Pinky said Thomas should be in front of us more, but the powers that be don't want the world to see it. Well, this is true. Kamala is not of my culture. Again, showcasing Pinky. No, she's not. The Democratic Party stuck her in front of Black America and said, here's your Black woman, because the Black women in the Democratic Party, when once Biden was sacked, right, they told the powers that be, you better put a Black woman in this position or we're going to destroy this party. So they said, here. And then that's when we wound up with the Curry Queen that no one liked. Okay, except for the people who are on, part of the blue no matter who cult. Chubb says, I believe our races are one in God. The problem is Satan loves when we use color to hate each other. We are all God's children. Yes, Chubbs. Not about skin color. It's culture and economic. Mayor, and that's what and I'm going to share some clips with you. That's what Dr. Sowell talks about. It's economic. If you take color out of the equation, it's economics, folks. It really, really is. And I'm telling you, when I started reading Thomas Sowell, I'm like, this guy is brilliant. And why, again, why don't they talk? Why don't they have him as a leader? Why don't they have him? He should have had a cabinet position years ago. This guy is brilliant. Linda, I'm glad I'm making you laugh, love. I like to be informative, but I also like to make people laugh. And so I'm going to share some video clips with you. Mom's YouTube account. How are you? And you tell me what your thoughts are. Now, of course, we may not always agree. That's fine. But I am finding more and more YouTubers saying the same thing. What's going on so far as, the Black community is concerned, and, what we can do to improve it. And it's just so sad. Mom's YouTube account says, hey there, Miss Lynn, glad to be here. I'm interested in your opinions and people. Okay, yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Do we always agree on everything? No. But I'm telling you, Thomas Sowell, he calls it like he sees it. And that's just, it is what it is. So let me share some videos with you. And you tell me what your thought process is. Big Cheese. So proud of the Generation Z Black males and females for not following Dr. Sowell. Okay, so the Big Cheese is not a fan of Dr. Sowell. Okay, and according to Thomas Sowell, I'm going to share this with you. He says Black culture keeps Blacks down, and he explains why. So let me pull that up for you right now, because I actually happen to agree. But if you think about it, folks, look at what they have spent billions and billions of dollars placing this in front of us. How you doing, Afaya? And hey, it's not by accident. And people worship the rappers. They look at the people that they worship. Whereas years ago, people worshiped educators, doctors, lawyers. They flipped the script, and look at where we are as a result. Baldwin Birds, I think I missed your statement. Let me see if I can. It says, just because you're Black doesn't mean you automatically have to identify with the Black community. It's up to you to choose who you want to be in life. Yeah, you choose. I tell my students, do you want to be a success? Do you want to be a failure? Make a choice, make a decision. Bad things happen to everyone. Good things happen to everyone, but you have to make a choice. Tina says, Thomas Sowell is brilliant. I love him too. I've read several of his books. Right, Tina, it drives me nuts. Why has he never, ever, unless he's been offered, cabinet positions throughout the years and he just said no. But, hey, this guy is brilliant. He's a genius. I love to see his IQ score. Pinky, the Baldwin Birds. That makes no sense. Black and separate yourself from your culture while others don't separate from. Well, Pinky, some people do. I was looking at some YouTubers earlier, young Black males that said they revoked my Black card. I want nothing to do with Black culture. And they don't hate themselves. They just don't like what is going on, and they don't want to be a part of it. If that helps, Pinky. The Dems' problem is just like their leader, Satan. They love it when we're not together, where Republicans want all to be united as Americans. Okay, Chubbs. Yes, James, Dr. Carol Swain, top notch. I love her too. Why? Okay, why isn't she a leader? Well, who are the people they stick in front of us? Al Sharptongue, Congressional Black Caucus, who's always being run by someone who's an immigrant, right? NAACP, and all of the people, the black preachers, all the people who are bought and paid for, the black mayors, right? Go ask Chicago and these other places with black mayors how that's working out for them. Everyone who's bought and paid for, and thank God, since Kamala lost the election, all the truth started to come out about how they paid all those millions of dollars, right? Billions, for celebrities. Pinky, and people that are critical of black community don't have better, or you think they're all flocking to America. Okay, Pinky, that's a valid point. A lot of the people, but Pinky, what I've noticed, a lot of people, once they come here and they've been here for a while, and this is Africans, Jamaicans, they did, hey, delineation is real. And I've been watching videos here on YouTube, and you see a lot of people from Africa, Jamaica, and they want nothing to do with black culture here in America. So let me share some of this video. And again, tell me what your thought process is. I love Thomas Sowell. I do. So let's listen to what he has to say about black culture and how it keeps black America down.
I lived. They will not get that same education. Now that,
hold on, here we go.
The culture in which they grew up was not the culture in which black kids grew up in America today.
So they had,
there's no gangster rap in that was pervasively available in Germany.
I'll stop that so you can read that, and I'll read it as well. It's not being black, it's a way of life. Unfortunately, the way of life is being celebrated not only in rap music, but among the intelligentsia. Is a way of life that leads to a lot of very big problems for most people. Thomas Sowell.
I mean, the average of black kid today, I think, is probably better off, certainly materially, than say Ben Carson was when he was growing up.
Ben Carson, the famous
black
surgeon at Johns Hopkins.
Right, right.
Who is immensely accomplished in every way.
Yes.
Right.
I would say that certainly the black kids who are growing up today have a higher material standard of living than I had. The difference was that the schools were good when I came along. They were especially good in New York at that time, hard as that is to believe. But the kids who grew up in that same place where I lived, they will not get that same education. Now that can be blamed on somebody, but it has very little to do with what happened 100 or 200 years ago.
Hi, I'm Jay.
Okay, let me let this commercial play. So Pinky, I've looked at several videos here on YouTube where there are Africans, and it's all over. You can type it in here on YouTube, also on TikTok. You have Africans, you have people from Jamaica, and they are denigrating Black American culture. So type that in and check that out. I've seen the videos. Okay. And now you're finding more Black Americans telling Black Americans to stop helping, Africans and Caribbeans, because they're saying from the videos I've watched and from what I've seen on social media that they've turned on them.
And it's true in other countries. I mean, in Nigeria, for example, there's a tribe, the Igbos, who are living in one of the least fertile parts of Nigeria, who were in fact enslaved in centuries past by other tribes and so on. When the British moved in and set up schools, the Igbos went for the schools. By the time Nigeria became independent, the Igbos had climbed above the other groups that had been ahead of them to begin with. But there are all kinds of cross currents of factors, the particular culture, or the particular geography. You run through the whole list of them.
You cite in Intellectuals and Race, you cite an observation by the intelligence expert, IQ scientist James Flynn, that just stopped me cold. After the Second World War, you've got large numbers of American troops remaining in Germany. For that matter, there's still several tens of thousands there today. And both black and white American soldiers had children with German women. And Flynn discovered that those children growing up in Germany showed no IQ differences at all. The black kids and the white kids, the same. Quoting intellectuals and race, Professor Flynn concluded that the reason was that the offspring of black soldiers in Germany, and now you're quoting Professor Flynn, grew up in a nation with no black subculture. Close quote.
Everyone hear that? And that's the operative word, subculture. And that's really what we're talking about. As I was explaining to Pinky earlier, we're not talking about the entire culture. But where are we here? Pinky said American blacks are delineating from Africans and Caribbeans, and I'm all for it. Okay, I see those videos too, and they sit online for hours talking about America. Right, Pinky? And that's what I'm saying. And so now there is a delineation movement. I mean, it's even on TikTok, Pinky, because Black Americans feel like, hey, you know, we went through a struggle, of course, you know, with civil rights and everything. And you come over here, you didn't go through the struggle, and you come over here and you assimilate, and then you don't want anything to do with the people who did struggle. So yeah, that's a real conversation that's going on here on YouTube, TikTok. So I'm like, wow. And I was in a chat room with speaking to someone, I think they were from Jamaica. And, you know, we were talking and they were talking about some of their experiences here. And, you know, I've seen some of the videos that I've seen. I've actually seen that, up close and personal, where, you know, some people from Jamaica, they didn't want to have anything to do with Black Americans. I mean, I'm just telling you, I can only tell you about what I see, but also I can tell you about personal experiences. So that it is what it is, folks. But Black culture, the subculture really is what we're talking about. We'll keep you down. We're talking about the gang banging, the drug usage, the fatherlessness. We're talking about the subculture. Okay, here we go.
Which means what? Which means they experienced exactly the same expectations. Is this
No. The expectations are external. The culture in which they grew up was not the culture in which Black kids grew up in America today.
So there's
no gangster rap. That was pervasively available in Germany.
So here's what I'm getting. There is something about Black subculture in America today that holds African Americans themselves back?
Yes. In fact, I went into this in a previous book on which about Black rednecks and white liberals, because that same subculture.
Let's talk about two of your books here. Go ahead.
Because that very same subculture held whites in the South back as well. That in the time this mental testing in the First World War turned up, among other things, the fact that whites from various 4 or 5 southern states scored lower on the mental test than Blacks from 4 or 5 northern states. And so it really was a question of the subculture that was there, which was a handicap to both.
All right. And so whose job is it to say, wrong subculture, folks, you're harming yourselves?
Well, I would think in an ideal world that intellectuals might take on that task, but the world that we live in, I've noticed, is not ideal.
All right. What is to be done? Take a look at President Lyndon Johnson speaking at Howard University in 1965.
Oh, yes.
But freedom is not enough. You do not wipe away the scars of centuries by saying now, you are free to go where you want and do as you desire and choose the leaders you please. You do not take a person who for years has been hobbled by chains and liberate him, bring him up to the starting line of a race, and then say, you are free to compete with all the others and still justly believe that you have been completely fair.
It's pathetic. It's not a question of, there's no you who has the control to be completely fair or completely unfair.
Okay, let me stop this as I do my review. Clee, you're absolutely right. And folks who are here, please do me one small favor, hit that like button. Clee says Black subculture holds back the Black people who choose to participate in that subculture. And Clee, you're absolutely 100% right. You know, as we try to help people see why they're being held back, it's not because of white supremacy. All right, that's not holding you back. You're holding yourself back by the decisions and the choices that you're making. And we have to stop blaming all of our faults on one group of people. Stop with the white supremacy and racism. Yes, it does, James. It really does. Mom's YouTube account. What holds Blacks and other people down is the system. Education, big companies, and internet culture nowadays, or the fentanyl crisis in the States. Okay. Yeah, and or lack thereof, Mom's YouTube account as it comes to or education. I was in a chat earlier. I'm a moderator on some other channels, and I was, how you doing? Do something. Hit the like button for me, folks. I was speaking to someone who was writing in the comments, and I told them, I've seen students take zeros on assignments if it required reading. They said, I'm not doing that. And I'm like, well, okay, it's great to be an American. And I put the zero down and I go on. But, you know, education is, you know, that's just basic. If you're not willing to get an education, you're crippling yourself for the future. And time out for blaming white supremacy. Look at the choices that you made. Tina, I'm so sick of the racism in this country. Love has no color. Tina, yes. Big Cheese at Pinky Wells. The Black community is doing well, and we are delineating and getting on code as a group, especially Gen Zs. Okay, Big Cheese. Yeah, take care of yourself. We cannot take care of everyone. We know about Pookie and Ray Ray and things that take place in some of these communities, particularly in a lot of these blue cities. But ultimately, at the end of the day, you have to take care of you. You're not responsible for a whole race of people. And so the worst of the culture, unfortunately, is celebrated. What do you see when you turn on the news, people? When you look at the newspapers? What did Tina say? Oh, yes, Linda, I'm sick of it too, love. I am absolutely sick of it. Yes, sister, I am. And again, look at who they raise up. Now, how many of you are older like I am? You remember, particularly in the 90s when the gangster rap started, you had people, you know, going to Congress complaining about it. And, but again, yeah, the people that didn't like it. Who was pushing this? Yeah, you had these young, mostly Black male rappers, the music companies. Okay. And I've watched videos on some of the people who were trying to do clean music, and they were told, that's not going to do. And so because the music companies are trying to make big bucks, gangster rap was what was happening. And what were they doing to the young rappers? What were they doing to each other in some of these, you know, blue cities, killing each other? And then they started rapping and singing about it, and they became millionaires. James, okay, love. Clee, I can't generalize all Black Americans as being a part of the Black subculture because I know so many accomplished Black Americans. Clee, that's what I said earlier. I'm not including everyone. We're just talking about the subculture, Clee, but it's the subculture that everyone sees on the news for the people who are doing things that they shouldn't be doing. Just like in the white community subculture, the Hispanic community subculture, Asian, every group has a subculture. We're talking about the subculture is primarily what you're going to see on the news, and it's usually for something bad. Okay. What kind of jobs can young men get if they can't read or write is deeply troubling. Music therapy. I try to tell them that. They don't want anything to do with reading. I told you I'm going to do a video. And I actually showed you, I think yesterday, I think I did yesterday or the day before, a video of some young Black kids in court, and they were laughing and giggling and they wouldn't listen to what the judge said. And I'm like, when they're in school or anywhere else, they're doing the same thing. But because they're Black, it's the pink elephant in the room. Black people aren't supposed to say anything to them. And if white people say something to them, they're racist. It's the same old game. Wash, rinse, repeat. Time out for that. You cannot correct a problem if you continue to ignore it. Pinky says whites are the ones that brought the most of the music, and now they're complaining about how it's messed up. It's the Africans and Caribbeans in our music that's adding that degenerate-ish. Okay, Pinky. Blexit, crime is not decreasing. Blexit, who said that crime is decreasing? I don't know who said that. I know the Democrats have been saying that crime is decreasing, but we know that is not true. It is definitely not true. Do something. The Black community shames in reverse. It's the only community that shames in reverse. You're shamed if you're smart and celebrated if you're dumb or a thug. Do something. Yes. Do something, gets it. Yes. Fridge Reaver, how are you? So yeah, we're talking Ohio Player 5, the progressive era. How are you? And again, we're not talking about everyone, but the subculture is usually what you see when you're watching the news because they're doing something they should not be doing. Blexit, following the leads of the Africans and Caribbeans, we weren't thinking about those people. Okay, Clee, somehow we have to make intelligence and having class cool again. Clee, yes, Clee, I think you're new here. Hit the like button. You're absolutely right. People who are nerds, people who like to read, they are ridiculed. But the people who are causing the problems, they're the cool guys. All right, I'll let some more of this play.
I mean, the circumstances are. So someone once criticized the mental test on grounds that the tests were unfair. And I think it was David Reisman who said the tests are not unfair. Life is unfair, and the tests are measuring the results. Yep. But who has control of life? Who has control of the past? Who has control of the culture that people have in the present, which they've inherited from the past?
So Lyndon Johnson, in fact, although good liberal that he was, at least in regard, Lyndon Johnson had a complicated career and changed positions on issues many times. But good liberal though he was at that moment, he was in fact engaging in a breathtaking arrogance.
Yes.
On two counts. One, that white people were the ones who were responsible for where Black people stood in the race, that it was up to whites entirely. That Blacks, as he described, I mean, I put
devastating.
the Black people are passive; they're acted upon.
That's right. That's right.
And then the second act of arrogance is the supposition that somehow the federal government could fix it.
Yes, it is staggering. But if you wanted to be charitable, you could say, "Well, he said this in 1965." But if you say, "All right, why are people now repeating it in 2013 when we've had nearly half a century of experience to the contrary?" And if you look within the Black community, those Blacks who had escaped what I call the Black redneck culture, they've moved on. So, but it's the culture the different parts of the Black community had. They were different.
Daniel Patrick Moynihan, in his famous 1965 report entitled "The Negro Family: The Case for National Action," close quote. Longish quotation, but it gets to something, I believe. Moynihan, the fundamental problem is that...
I'll pause this so you can read that, and I'll read it as well. From Moynihan. This is if you're familiar with the Moynihan report, type that in the comment section for me, please, folks. The fundamental problem is that of family structure. The Negro family in the urban ghettos is crumbling. A middle-class group has managed to save itself, but for vast numbers of the unskilled and poorly educated, all right,
that of family structure. The Negro family in the urban ghettos is crumbling. A middle class has managed to save itself, but for vast numbers of the unskilled and poorly educated,
the fabric of conventional social relationships has all but disintegrated. So long as this situation persists, the cycle of poverty and disadvantage will continue to repeat itself. Daniel Patrick Moynihan, The Case for National Action. Now, how many of you know once the federal government intervened, the problem got worse? I did a video on that a couple of years ago. Clea, how are you, Clea? The fact that the traditional black, yeah. So again, when the federal government becomes involved, watch out. Hit the like button for us, please, folks. I have about 80 people in here and only about 47 have hit the like button. The fact that the traditional black, okay, I read that. If you speak with common sense, you'll be cut down. You speak as a dummy, you're given rewards. Yes, Jesse Lee Peterson. I don't think so, Big Cheese. I don't think so. Fridge Reaver. Yet roaming in mobs guarantees that one grows further apart from mainstream normalcy and deteriorates the discipline it needs to function on the job. Poverty eats its children. Okay, Fridge Reaver. That sounds about right. And those that don't know, Patrick Moynihan, his father abandoned his family when he was a small child. So this was something that was really personal for Moynihan. But again, once the federal government became involved, that's when it really went bonkers. Because remember, they told black women, we'll help you, but you have to get rid of the black man. So again, if you look at the marriage rates in the black community, that explains a lot. Yeah, here we go.
fabric of conventional social relationships has all but disintegrated. So long as this situation persists, the cycle of poverty and disadvantage will continue to repeat itself. Close quote. When Moynihan wrote those words, the illegitimacy rate among African Americans was 25%. Today, the illegitimacy rate among white Americans is 36%. Among Hispanics, more than 50%, and among African Americans, more than 70%.
Yes.
Aside from throwing up your hands in despair, what is to be done?
The first thing to be done is to understand that this was a result of policies begun in the 1960s. This is not a legacy of what happened 100 years before the 1960s.
Exactly. And Thomas Sowell, I read in one of his books, the black family was more intact during slavery than since the Democrats became involved. We know what's going on now. Khalid says the fact that the traditional black family is almost non-existent now is the main problem that's holding us back. I admire the single parents, mostly black women, who are trying their best. Do something different. When I was born, the black illegitimacy rate was 25 to 30%, and now it's 70 plus. And in there, hey, the devil's in the details. Do something different. I remember when I was in graduate school in the 90s, I used to always watch Larry Elder on Fox News, and people would shut him down. They did not Fox News, but the black leaders, the black puppets, the gatekeepers would shut him down. Larry Elder has been telling America since the 90s. And who knows, he may have been telling people since the 80s, but I was a kid and I just don't remember. I just don't remember that. But I know in the 90s, Larry Elder was telling them what the problem is. And they were telling him that, they called him everything, Uncle Tom and everything. So if you have someone like Larry Elder or Thomas Sowell who is telling you what to do, and all you're doing is ridiculing them. The problem will continue to get, worse. Mayor, fathers were forced out of the family and the government became the daddy. Yes, Mayor, therein lies the problem. Oh, wow. Right, Chubbs. Mayor, growing up in the 60s, fathers were in the home. Yes, Mayor, yes. Pinky, at Clee Carpenter, do you think the countries those Black immigrants have traditional families? Nigeria has 18 million children living in the streets alone. 51% of the mothers in Tanzania are single. All right. So you guys are having some good conversations here. Do something different. So was Ken Hamlin, the Black Avenger. Okay. Clee, the Nigerians who come over here to study are their best and brightest. Yes, Clee. They're not representative of the average Nigerian back in Nigeria. Clee, that's an excellent point. When I was in college, all of the Africans, and there were people from Nigeria, there were people from South Africa. They were running circles around American students. They were very, very intelligent. So I'm glad you brought that up. That just came back to my memory. Where are we? Tina, morals is the problem. The degeneracy is the issue. And then that's what is celebrated in the subculture. And it's sad. Let me let some more of this play.
Breakdown of the Black family is not a legacy of slavery.
No, if you the classic study of this goes all the way back to the era of slavery, and they find that most Black kids, even under slavery, had lived with two parents, and that was true all the way up until the 1960s. And so, if you really want to find out what's changed, it has changed since the 1960s. And the fact that whites now have a higher rate of illegitimacy than Blacks had when Moynihan wrote suggests that this is something that spreads out. But if you look at something else, if you look at those Blacks, and look at Black husband-wife families, the poverty rate among such families has been in single digits every year since 1994. And so if you look at the external causes, why the husband and wife families and the welfare single mom families all are facing the same society and objective things, but the results are radically different because the cultures and values are different.
That's right.
So you would roll back welfare. I guess that's the principal policy. So what would Tom Sowell do? One, you'd eliminate welfare, you'd reform welfare. What would you do?
Roll it back.
All right. And what about affirmative action?
Eliminate it.
Just gone.
Yeah.
Colorblind
Yeah.
policy completely. All right. What prospect for that do you see?
None.
No black leader of any standing. I'm talking about a political leader as opposed to an intellectual such as yourself. You've got, there's you, there's Walter Williams. Do you get the sense that there's a growing generation, a rising generation of African-American intellectuals who say, enough of this, I'm with Tom Sowell?
Well, I don't know if they'll go that far. There's no point.
That would be asking a lot.
There's no point being reckless. But I think there are people like Shelby Steele and many others, Larry Elder. You can run through a long list, and there are more such people now than there were, say, in the 1970s. But in terms of political leaders, all the incentives politically are for Black leaders to blame all problems in the Black community on the larger society. And that enables them to take on the role of being the defender of the Black community against enemies, which
again, the Black gatekeepers that we've been talking about forever on this channel, that they place in front of the Black community as leaders, the Al Sharptongue, the Ben Crumps, the Congressional Black Caucus, NAACP, everyone we've been talking about, the entertainers, the rappers, the athletes. Yeah.
in turn creates the situation in which many blacks don't feel that anything that they do is going to help themselves unless it's done politically as a group. That there's no point. I mean, why would you, if you believe what they say, why would you want to knock yourself out in the school knowing that the man is not going to let you get anywhere? One of the most pathetic things I heard in recent years was a young black man saying that, at one point he thought he would join the Air Force and become a pilot. And then he says he realized that the white man is not going to let a black man become a pilot. And he was saying this decades after the Tennessee Airmen had established their reputation in combat in Europe, But the hopelessness is one of the big products of the race industry. That you have no chance.
You heard what he said. The race industry, perpetrated by the race hustlers. We talk about them all the time. Hopelessness. You can't make it. Making people dependent on the Democratic Party. All right, dependent on them. And the Democrats aren't going to do anything for you but tell lies. But that's another story for another day. But the degeneracy, the debauchery, the worst of, that's what they show to America. And this is what they choose. The people that they choose to represent us. Mayor Sharpton is a race pimp. He always has been. I tell people, I had someone come on here one day. No, he's a good guy. I'm like, honey, I go back. I say, go back, Google Al Sharpton. I think it was 1989, Tawana Brawley, and then come back and we'll talk. So I've been familiar with him for a long period of time. And so men, gangbangers, smoking things they shouldn't be smoking, you know what I'm saying? Killing each other in the streets. Black Lives Matter, they don't say a word. The NAACP, they don't say a word. The Congressional Black Caucus, all these organizations and all these people that are supposed to be helping Black America, they don't open their mouths. Hit the like button for me, please, folks. And so I tell people, leave the Democratic plantation and think for yourself. Sharpton makes dollars for racial division. Yeah, that's how he makes his money. Yes, Clee, the Tuskegee Airmen, you're right. So remember that, people. You're not obligated to anyone. And simulation says Dr. Ben Carson, never let them discourage him. Right. If you're saying, oh, the white man's not going to let me, that's a mindset that you definitely need to flee from. Thomas Sowell. Okay, where are we? Pinky. They wouldn't get money if they did. Right, Mom's YouTube. They have to keep people divided. They have to pretend like they're the great savior for poor people. They don't care about those people. They just they're hustling these people. We know that. The only culture that feels obligated to be responsible for everyone else is the Black culture. Other races separate. China, Japan, you have the haves, you have the have-nots. Okay. Those of you who know about education, American education, 1996, I think it was Bush #2. He had that No Child Left Behind, where everyone is supposed to go to a 4-year university. Anyone in education could tell you, and I was just finishing up grad school. I think I just started teaching, and anyone in education will tell you that is not going to happen. And so that's where we are. And you know, I was looking at a video earlier today. I need to go back and finish. Trey, I tell students, if you don't want to go to a 4-year university, that's fine. Go to a trade school. Trades, that will work. Anytime you have to call an electrician, a plumber, a carpenter to your home, all of you who are homeowners, you know it's very expensive. So we call each other names, we denigrate each other. As a matter of fact, Larry Elder made a video called Uncle Tom, because that's what they've called him. And like I said, all the man was doing was giving you statistics. He had receipts telling you what the problem is, but you don't want to hear that because you don't want to fix the problem because you're a race hustler. And so I've watched a lot of videos where Black Americans are saying they have separated themselves from that subculture. They don't want to be associated with it. But we know more people need to speak out, because what? Billions of dollars have been spent to get that message across. And I told you, all skin folks are not kin folks. These are paid puppets, and they're just trying to continue to collect their checks. And I have another video to share with you as well. Okay. Hit that like button for me, please. Mom's YouTube account, Black Victimhood is Nothing But Profitable. Yes. Mom's YouTube account. I was in a chat earlier today, and there was a young lady in there talking, and I told her victimhood is not an option. She said she was talking about how she couldn't make it, and she was talking about white racism, and I just shut her down. And I told her, no, if you get out here and you have work ethic and you have character, you can make it. And I could not listen to that victimhood mentality. I cannot. I don't believe in it. And I think that if you watched, I did a video last night. If you believe in a higher power, you know no one can stop you. And I do believe. All right. So I'm going to share another video with you, and we'll go. Again, folks, if you will, please, please, please hit that like button. It will not cost you anything. And I wanted to show this to you because it's all over YouTube. Where people are talking about Black culture. And Black people are saying, why do I hate? Telling why they hate Black culture. But again, we know it's subculture. All right, here we go. All right. How you doing, Deborah? In simulation, that was destructive. I got left behind, but never abandoned. My teachers gave their time and support to help me overcome. Right, in simulation. And that's all you can do. Big Cheese says, Larry Elder is the biggest sellout, and I'm proud of the Black community who got on code and canceled him. All right, Big Cheese has a different opinion. All right. But I personally, I admire Larry Elder. Deborah said, my son received his master's from a Black HBCU in December. All right. Most of the graduates that received doctoral or masters were from Africa and India. Deborah gets it. Deborah, I think you are new here. I have said that. If you look at most of the Black, and Africans don't call themselves Black, but I'm just, stating, if you look at most of the doctors in this country with dark skin, they're not Black American. Most of them are from Africa that I've seen. So what does that say? Some people take education seriously and some don't. Okay, Fridge Reaver, thanks for stopping in. Tina, you do not know how many times I've had to hear about what the white men have done to the Indians coming from Blacks because I'm Chippewa. Right. And again, if people continue, Tina, thank you for saying that. If people continue to look in the rear view mirror, you're looking back. Me, I was telling someone today in the chat, I'm looking forward. If you're looking in the rear view mirror, you're looking at what's behind you. I want to see what's in front of me. Shelly, it's easier to fool someone than to convince them that they've been fooled. Yes. Shelly, I love Mark Twain. Yes, yes, yes. All right. Where are we here? Elon Musk is from Africa, so is he African American? Technically, Mayor, yes, he's an Afrikaner. So, Pinky said Africans and Caribbeans all over social media talking about Black Americans. Trump is coming and they're all going home with their anchor babies. Pinky, okay, Pinky's getting upset here. Okay, Pinky. Clee, I'm a Black conservative man. However, I still believe that FBAs deserve reparations. I don't consider it to be welfare or a handout. Reparations are deserved. Okay, Clee. And again, Clee, hey, we're glad you're here. Everyone's opinion is welcomed. In simulation, I had a doctor from Africa. He's one of the best doctors I have had. Okay, in simulation, perfect. Let's listen to what this young lady has to say.
I am sick of seeing Black Americans in the media, on social media, in the news, doing crime, walking around next to naked, the women, the men perpetuating gang violence, substance abuse. The absolute worst of our community is oversaturating the media, even though they make up a small percentage of all of Black Americans. The decay of our morality within Black communities has been slowly declining over the past 20 years, and no one is talking about it. No one is saying anything about it or trying to address it. And if you do, you are often told that you're policing Black bodies. If you say Black women, stop getting on the internet and in the media, twerking, walking around with little clothes on. People tell you that you're policing bodies, policing Black bodies, or it's respectability politics. If you are Black and you speak your piece on what we're seeing in the media, if you don't like seeing the low morality that is often portrayed about the Black community in the media, from the trap music to the Black women twerking in music videos and all over social media, the Sukihanas and the Sexy Reds of the world. If you are Black and you take issue with it and you talk about it, you are usually called bourgeois, sedity, uppity, it's respectability politics, you're policing Black bodies and the like. And it's like, no, I'm Black too. And as such, this being my ethnic culture as well, I have a right to have something to say about what I'm seeing going on.
Look.
All right. So this young lady, again, folks, she's not the only person. I've looked at several of these videos and they're all saying the same thing. And the subculture is what I told you about. So let me go to the subculture.
Your average Black American is a middle-class, working-class, blue-collar Jane and Joe. The ghetto subculture, Black ghetto subculture that we see often portrayed and over-inundated and oversaturating the media, those Black Americans make up a tiny, tiny percentage of Black Americans as a whole. But somehow they're in the media, overcompensating in the media, oversaturating the media. I know I don't just speak for myself when I say that I'm sick of seeing it, that it's gross, that it is destroying what Black culture actually is. It's co-opting Black culture as a whole and making it seem as though all of Black culture is ghetto subculture. I'm not the only Black American who takes issue with it. Because like I said, majority of Black America is middle class, not in the ghettos, not out here perpetuating gang violence, promiscuity, and everything else. And
okay, so this young lady, she looks at me, I think she's in her 20s, but I definitely agree with what she's saying. And so again, she talked about the majority don't live in, the ghettos committing crimes. But what do you see on the news? You can thank the news for that. Yes, Caesar, she's right. Montrez, how are you? Hey, Rolynn, I'm a Black man and I distanced myself from Black culture a long time ago. That culture is full of debauchery. Montrez, that's what we've been talking about. The people, most of us are out here working and we don't have time for that type of nonsense. And Candace Owens, she talked about it as well. I get it. That's not what most Black Americans are doing, but that's what you see the Sexy Reds and all these other people. You've heard Candace Owens, God knows, she's talked about it, and they They talk crap, about her. Anytime she says anything about it, she talked about toxic Black culture, and no one wants to hear it. Here we go.
Put stuff like that out there. You see. So I know you've spoken on like toxic Black culture and all that stuff. Besides public speaking, what are you doing to combat against toxic Black culture? And then how does your movie BLM add to what you're doing? Do you see how it can add to it? Do you see how it can hinder the movement?
Yeah, thank you. That's a great question. I'm so glad you asked it, obviously, because it just lets me brag about myself. So the thing that the media never tells about anybody, and it is so infuriating that they ever say about me, is that it's just like, Candace is just critiquing Black America, and then they just strip away everything that I do for Black America. I run a charity. It's called Blexit.com. It's a successful charity, and we are in 39, actually now 41 states. You can go on to Blexit.com, and you can see what we are doing in these inner cities. We have after-school programs in which we pick up these children that are in disadvantaged districts, and we bring them so that they can learn different ideas, and so that their parents don't have to worry about them being on the streets. Aside from after school programs, we run summer camps for these children so that they have somewhere to go, so that their parents don't have to worry about them being on the streets. Aside from just complaining about BLM and all the destruction that it brought to inner cities, we raised over $100,000 and gave it. We picked Black businesses that had been destroyed in the George Floyd riots, and we gave it to them. Now I'm telling you all this stuff because the media never will. They need to paint me as a monster and a person that hates my own race, because I have higher expectations, because we should have higher expectations. And there's been this routine lowering of the bar. In terms of the documentary, my purpose in producing that film was that I never thought that there was a more toxic narrative for Black America than the George Floyd story and the lies surrounding it. And I wanted to do that film in a compassionate way, because after speaking to his roommates, I felt sad. This was a man that was struggling with drug addiction. Drug addiction is something that probably every single person in this room can relate to. Somebody in your family, a cousin, a brother. This is something that touches Americans. And the George Floyd story should have been a story that brought Americans together. And it's not his fault that after he died, horrible people used the media narrative to divide Americans, to burn down Black inner city communities, and to raise BLM into the multi-million-dollar organization that essentially stole from Americans. And so I wanted to expose all of that, because I think that once you expose a lie that big, it helps people be less emotional and to really understand, which was, I think, the thesis of my film, which is that the media is our enemy.
Facts.
So then, what can I do to add to what you're doing?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
I said, what can I do to add to what you're doing?
Join Blexit. We join the Blexit chapter. Get involved. Every single person. I better see Blexit numbers going off. As soon as you got here, Blexit.com. See what we're doing. And it's an organization that's it's small pocket donors that give $1 a month that allows us to do what we do and to actually make a difference. And it's honestly the best.
Okay, so yeah, these videos are all over, and I'm glad. It gives me hope, especially when I see the younger people talking about it. Let me see. Tell me what you think in the comment section, folks. All right. Tell me what your thoughts are. In simulation, what's the question? Did I miss a question? All right. Oh, this is the girl. Yeah, this young lady. She is Black American culture, ghetto Blacks. This young girl is good. Here we are. This is what I wanted to show you. Hold on. We've already seen that one. I wanted to show you another one. Yeah, where are we here? She's good though. I forgot. Yeah, I need to subscribe to her channel here. Yeah, so she's young. Okay, but this is her channel. And we just watched that video already. But yeah, she calls it out like it really is. She doesn't care who doesn't like it. She talks about what's really going on. Okay. All right. I wanted to show you one more. Black male youths are the problem. All right. I just found it. Let me share this with you. All right. And you know, this next video that I'm sharing with you, you know it's a problem. We just looked at a video. Yeah, it is a trap. Hit the like button for me, please. Tina, you know Candace is good for exposing people. She exposed Black Lives Matter. She exposed the Curry Queen, Kamala Harris. She is something. Big C, why are you always talking down on Black people, sister? Big C, who am I talking down on, love? I'm telling you about some real issues that are going on. How can you fix an issue if no one is willing to talk about it? Big C, answer that question, please, dear. Glad to have you here. I'm talking about what's wrong, okay, in the subculture part of the Black community. Do something. Said nobody's talking down on Black people. Stop it. Right. If you talk about a problem going on in the Black community, you're talking down. And that is not the intention. The intention is to talk about why the problem is there. But if you won't talk about it, you can never fix it. Hit the like button for me, please, folks. Mom's YouTube account. I don't agree in every point with Candace. Mom's YouTube account. I don't either. I agree what she says about the Black subculture. I think most of it, I would agree with her. I left a Democrat, like Americans would say. Okay. Right. I'm just bringing up the issues in the Black subculture. I'm not talking down on anyone. I'm telling you what's going on. I'm sharing videos with people who are also saying the same thing. All right. And like I said, this young lady looks to be in her 20s. So that does bring me hope. Let's listen to what she has to say. How you doing? Amen.
Youth. The problem that is Black male youth aggression. Why do we have cases of Black male youth terrorizing the women in their households, in their communities? Black male youths are brutalizing and killing their sisters, their girlfriends, their moms, their grandmothers. And before y'all get down in my comment section saying, oh, white people do it too, Asians do it too, Latinos do it too, I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about Black male youths and the violence that they perpetuate against other Black people.
Okay. And what she just said, okay, that's part of that Black subculture that we've been talking about, right? And if someone says something about it, it's like the pink elephant in the room. We're all standing over here. The pink elephant's over here, and we're pretending like we don't see it. How you doing, Maria? Oh, God. Yes, Maria. Truth bomb. Big Cheese says Candace Owens is getting her in wake up call by the small, I don't know, caps and folks. I'm not sure who you're talking about. Candace Owens also pulled up Barack Obama's birth certificate. She will expose you. Don't go around her if there's something about you that's not legitimate. She will find it. Amen. We're talking about the Black subculture, where we're talking about the crime, the drugs, pretty much what you see when you see Black Americans on TV. You don't see the people who are prosperous, the people who are doing well. You tend to see the negative part, which every culture, every race has, good and bad. Okay, we're just focusing on the Black subculture and the rap culture, the violence, and that's what this young lady is referencing. Those of you just coming in, please hit the like button. I've already shared a video on Dr. Thomas Sowell, and he talks about it as well. And sub just means below. So subculture, that's going to be below the regular culture. That's all. Chubbs, I believe in helping people, but believe this is you getting money, the Dems will call for what they really want. Okay. Okay, here we go.
So please, at what point in time are we going to correct the problem of aggression in Black males at the earliest side of it? There is a small window to correct aggressive behavior in children. And if you miss that window, you doom that child to a future of violence against themselves and others. Now, we know that your average Black household is single mother led. These boys, they need masculine correction in their lives, and they need it immediately. They don't have enough of it, so they get out of order with the women around them. Naturally, their mothers, their grandmothers, the women around them can be hardly to blame. They can't stop these boys. These boys are getting grown, and they know that they have a physical advantage over the women around them. So before some of y'all get in my comment section talking about, well, she shouldn't have had a baby out of wedlock, and where's the daddy, and this is why we need dads. That's valid, but it's ultimately unproductive because these boys are grown now. She can't unbirth them. She can't force the dad to be there. We have to solve the problem at hand, and saying that is unproductive. Perfectly valid, but unproductive. Now, in order to help these boys, and by proximity, those around them, I think it comes in two parts. First is to catch the behavior very early and place at-risk boys in a group mentor program led by preferably men. And I think around like 8 to 9, maybe 10 years old is when you start to see this kind of aggressive behavior, pre-teens, basically. And in this group mentor program, these boys who are at risk of becoming dangerous individuals later on, they are engaged by men with exercises like problem and conflict resolution skills, critical thinking skills, emotional regulation skills, all of these to help these boys.
All right. Amen. Hots says there's no such evidence of Black culture, all pseudo culture. I don't know what you're saying. Amen. Mom's YouTube account, ghetto culture. You see what it brings with Tiff and her drones and stolen turkey. Yeah. So we're talking about the ghetto culture, and this is what we see in the rap culture and the debauchery. If you look at who they emulate, who they worship, the Sexy Reds, and the rappers who are glorifying gang violence, it is what it is. Yes, ghetto culture, not our culture. Yeah. Okay, Pinky, there we go. Okay, here we go.
Not fall into destructive habits before it starts, as well as being taught things like philosophy and ethics. I think it's also important at a young age that boys learn those things, as well as other things that I just don't have the time to go into depth on here because I'm already past like the 3-minute mark. Now, 2, for Black male youths that have already begun destructive habits, so the ones who are already terrorizing their households, they're already being disrespectful to their moms, potentially violent towards their moms. Being verbally disrespectful is a precursor to violence. So when you're dealing with Black male youths that are already cussing out the women around them, dangerous, it's coming. So the second would be to catch these boys who are already showing destructive habits, but still have that little window of opportunity, putting them into a rehabilitation and correctional facility, not like a typical correctional facility where they're just...
I'll stop it here because, again, we in the school system, and I have to speak up for my brethren and sister in the school system, we are not creating the pipeline from the school to the prison. That's not me. That you can go. I don't know if they come from a single or a 2-parent home. Go see their parents. That's not what I do. Yes, what she's saying is 100% true. And Tina, you've heard me say on here, they're always complaining. Black males have the highest suspension rates. If you guys want, I'll do a video on that. Black males and females have the highest suspension rate. What are we supposed to do when they break the rules? No one is discriminating or picking on Black children in the schools. Okay. As an educator for 27 years, I have never, ever, and I've taught, different school districts. I've never seen that. Chubb says, if we take responsibility for ourselves, we don't need anyone to tell us how we should be. Chubbs, yes. The degeneracy, we see that in the Sexy Reds, in the rappers. but that's who they emulate. That's who they're worshiping. And then when things fall apart in their lives, it's the white man's fault. It's white supremacy. It's racism. No, it's the choices you made. Big Cheese, a lot of that degenerate rap music is being created by tethers. Yeah, well, you're right, Big Cheese. So parents, you're responsible for your children. Don't let them listen to it. Montrez, yes, it is ghetto culture. Not all black people are ghetto. Yeah, not all black people live in the ghetto. I don't live in the ghetto. Don't want to live in the ghetto. So people can't look at someone and make, assumptions or stereotypes. That's why they don't work. Generational curses we can break. Yes, we can. Anthony, I had a couple of friends who were teachers in West Philly. They told me the kids that were out of control would ruin it for the kids that had potential. Anthony, yes. But we as educators, since you want to know why the school system is broken and it's been broken for 50 plus years, we have to deal with that nonsense. You may have 2 or 3 people who are interested in learning, but you got to deal with these idiots over here in the corner, right? Make it make sense. I can only speak of Brooklyn, but young black girls are in gangs now and violent. James, I know. I'm not in New York. I don't live in New York any longer, but they're everywhere. You guys see some of the same social media videos that I see. Yeah, Pinky, you're right. Oh, mom's YouTube account. I don't mean not allowing music. I mean monitoring the music that your students, your children are listening to. I'm sorry I didn't make that clarification. Does that make sense, moms? Yeah, I mean, you need to monitor. Just like if your kids are on the internet, you need to make sure you are monitoring. That's why all these kids are abducted every year, because parents don't know who their kids are talking to. Some of that rap music is pretty rough, moms. I don't know if you've heard Megan Thee Stallion. I don't know if you've heard Sexy Red. Woo! Yeah, if you listen to some of that, you might not believe what you're hearing. Let me let her finish.
Thrown in jail and they rot, and they're not actually being engaged, but an actual correctional detention center where they are engaged on their level by, again, preferably men, because that is what they're lacking in their lives. These boys are given deliberate but character building difficulty. It has been proven that boys do better when they deal with challenge, when they deal with difficulty. So something like physical difficulty that builds character, as well as mental difficulty that will also build character. Basically along the lines of a military academy. I think we need to bring those back. Necessary skill sets to help these boys avoid future malfeasance and recidivism. Again, it's been proven already that boys do better when they are challenged, when they are given deliberate but character building difficulty and struggle. Obviously, that's not very detailed, but again, I don't really have a lot of time to go into the complete details of like what I'm thinking in my head and how this type of correctional facility would look. But yeah, rather than sending these boys who are at high risk to a regular detention center where they're thrown in a cell and that is it, they should instead be sent to a different type of place, government contracted, obviously, but this place would have.
And what she's saying sounds good, but the issue is, of course, money. Thomas Sowell has a YouTube channel. Yes, Mayor, I'm subscribed to his YouTube channel. And so she's speaking about the young black males. She's saying that they're the problem, the male black, the youths. If you look at suspension rates, again, I can do a video on that, just that. Male black suspension rates, they're always higher than any other subgroup. And again, oh, okay, moms, I like you too. Yeah. No one's picking on these kids. I know, because I'm in the schools every day, folks. I see who the rule breakers are. They're rule breakers of all races. So no one is picking on these children. People who say that and they're not working in the school system, I just beg to differ. And I just want to just scream. Oh, okay, James. Let's go back to old school music, Temptation, Smokey, James Brown, Elvis, Bee Gees. Yes, when people had talent, Chubbs. Yes. Music therapy, nationwide, higher suspension rates are just music therapy. Statistically speaking, it's nationwide. Music therapy. Before there was Megan Thee Stallion and Sexy Red, it was Two Live Crew. Yeah. Right, Montrez, and then before, what's her face? It was Madonna. Remember in the 80s, Madonna was risque, and comes in cycles. I hear that the reading level math skills of young Black males is, yes, Clee, it is abysmal. It is. But Clee, I will tell you this as well. Again, the chat I was in earlier, a lot of students, not just black, white, Hispanic, if I give them an assignment that requires them to read, some would rather take a 0. They're like, no, I'm not reading that. I don't read. So obviously I said, well, it's great to be an American. And I just put their 0 down and I just keep going. But a lot are just not interested in learning. In simulation, a lot of kids grew up in hate, and that's all they've ever known. In simulation, and I do fault, this is where I fault some of this with the Democratic Party. When you're constantly being told you are a victim, you can't make it because of white supremacy and racism. That's the lies that they keep spewing to people in this subculture that we've been talking about. So that's why that some of them don't have any hope because they're being lied to. Caesar, I remember Millie Jackson. Anthony, rap means something different to a kid in the suburbs than it does to a kid in the hood. Anthony, good point. Clee, yeah, it's not cool if you're smart. And a lot of them have absolutely no interest in it. They want to play games and those games they play on their phones and things like that. They don't have an interest. Music therapy gets it. Yes. And that's why I become so angry with the Democratic Party, because of the lies that they spew. You saw the video that I played earlier, I think, with Dr. Thomas Sowell. And that young man told him, I'd like to be a pilot in the Air Force, but I know I can't because of white supremacy or racism or something to that effect. So they're told that if you have that drilled into your psyche from the time you're a child until you're older, you start believing the lie. Hit the like button for me, please, folks. And that's pretty much all. Let me see what else she's talking about here. I'll let some more of this play and then we'll get out of here.
A curriculum where these boys are engaged critically. They are given purposeful and deliberate challenge and difficulty, and they're engaged kind of along the lines of a military academy that is also college and career preparatory. This would be for Black male youths or just boys in general.
Pinky, yes. Again, Pinky says parents' fault if a child has no interest in learning. It doesn't end when school is out. Pinky, yes. And again, that's why I told you, anytime I hear people say that I and other educators have created that proverbial school to prison pipeline, no, ma'am, no, sir. Parents did that. I had no part of that. Again, if a child does something wrong and I'm required to write it up and they get suspended, how is that my fault? Raise your children. Chubbs, my dad had to quit school when he was 9 because his dad was killed in World War II, but he learned to read, and before his death, he got his high school certificate. Yeah, notice how, and I need to look at the statistics, and I was reading and listening to Dr. Thomas Sowell. How were Black Americans during Jim Crow? They had dilapidated facilities, old books. How are they more intelligent than what we're producing now in today's public schools? And they were at a great disadvantage. Someone explain that to me. Music therapy, I support, conservatively speaking, vouchers. Unfortunately, public schools have a monopoly. That's why they try to keep out the schools, the voucher system, the charter schools, and things of that nature. If you are growing up in a poor, impoverished ghetto, why did the Democrats want you to continue to receive that low quality education? Whereas if you get a voucher, you get to go to a high performing school where all you're doing is learning. You're not dealing with all these other issues and people who aren't interested in learning. Mom's YouTube account said, personally, I don't like Trump because I think he's just a greedy, not very educated guy, but the Democrats effed up that bad. The people took the lesser bad option. Same happens in Germany next year. Okay, Mom's YouTube account. Thanks for being honest with us about that. That's interesting. Okay. Chris, we're on a winter storm warning, so Illinois might lose power. So just post a video that I was missing. Chris, you want me to post? Which video did you want me to post, love? I am going to post. I did another video. Hit the like button for me, please. The video that I did on Thomas Sowell. I wish that more people would. I would love to do a whole series on Thomas Sowell because of his brilliance. Unfortunately, most people, they're just not interested. But I will drop a video for you that I did on Thomas Sowell. And then we're going to get out of here. Where are we here? All right, folks. So tell me what you think. Okay. All right. It's taking a minute here. I will drop that for you though. He has to pick cotton to help his mom support the family. So he raised me to never quit believing you're somebody, not someone feeling sorry for this. Right, Chubbs? Bad things happen to all of us. You have to pick yourself up. And somehow, some way, if you're working hard and you have character and integrity, someone will help you. I did a video. Let me share this with you now. I did a video 7 or 8 months ago saying that systemic racism is not the problem. It only had 156 views. People don't want to hear the truth. I'm giving truth. And it was Thomas Sowell talking, explaining, like, you know, what I was sharing with you earlier today. He was explaining what the problems are. Thank you so much, Mayor. Rolynn Thomas is of interest to all. Do the live on him. You will have a Pinky. This is the second or third podcast I've done on Thomas Sowell. The last one, I just dropped that link, only 150 some views. People, I guess it's not sensational enough, but people need to listen to him. I just dropped that link. Right, music therapy. Anthony, there's a business near me. It's for kids after school to get ahead academically. Yes, Anthony, thank you for that info. There are too many programs. That's why when I hear students telling me they can't make it, I tell them I don't want to hear it. The only people, don't come to me talking about white supremacy and racism. I don't want to hear it. That's an excuse for failure. If you did not grow up during the Jim Crow era, don't come to me because I don't want to hear it. It's an excuse. Anthony, say it again for the people in the back. Let me read Anthony. Anthony said, there's a business near me for its kids after school to get ahead academically. It's packed with all Asian kids. Thank you, Anthony. Case in point. Anthony, since you went there, I'm going to go somewhere right now. Since we said, obviously, there's an issue with Black males as it relates to reading levels and you know, standardized test scores, all of that. I noticed 5:30 in the morning, you'll see basketball players. Their parents will drop them off to practice basketball. If we had a program where teachers like myself who go in early would come in early to help get them on grade level. Parents would have 1,000,001 excuses. Oh, I don't have transportation. Or can they ride the bus? So it's priorities, folks. Stop blaming everyone else. It's the parents. Thank you, Anthony. Yes, Anthony gets it. Hit the like button for me, please. Right. And on TikTok, Anthony, since you brought it up, we know TikTok is in China. They're driving that logarithm. They show our American kids sexy red and all of the debauchery and degeneracy videos. Asians kids are looking at science and technology videos on TikTok. So they know how to trigger that logarithm. Make it make sense. Where are we? Another great show today, Miss Rolynn. Yeah, oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm glad Anthony was here. Anthony, he's telling the truth. I don't make this stuff up. I tell you about my experiences and what I see. Yes, Mom's YouTube account. Exactly. Yes. They show our kids debauchery, degeneracy, the lowest of the low hanging fruit. They have Asian kids looking at science and technology. Budget cuts in simulation. Budget cuts. So you don't have those programs. A lot of programs were canceled because of budget cuts. Hit the like button for me, please, folks. If you have TikTok, no, not TikTok. If you have Facebook, Truth Social, Instagram, please share this out. I would love for this video, more people to see this video and learn about Thomas Sowell. And again, let me drop this link. I did this video on Thomas Sowell over 6 months ago, but a lot of people didn't watch it. When you watch the videos, folks, leave comments, hit that like button, please. Mom's YouTube account, Psychological Warfare. Mom, I did a video on psychological warfare. Let me find it for you so you can watch it, and then we'll go. Oh yeah, I did that. I sure did. And that's what the Democrats use, psychological warfare, to try and keep Black Americans on the Democratic plantation. I will let me find that video for you, and I definitely want you to check that out. Hey, I told you guys, and girls and gals, leave comments under the videos. I'm always checking, and I will definitely respond. Here it is. Democrats are trying to use dark psychology. All right, copy the link. Here we go. Moms, there you are. Check that out and leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about that video. Tiff content. Where Mom's YouTube? We'll see music therapy. Check it out if you like at music therapy. It's Tiff. Okay. Music therapy. I've never heard of those accounts. Mom's, maybe someone hacked. Okay. Yeah, Mom's YouTube. Check that out. And we're going to get out of here now. I enjoyed each of you. Hey, even after we end the live stream, you can leave comments. I'll come back in a bit and check, and I will respond. Thank you again for spending your very valuable time here at the Rolynn's Reviews YouTube channel. You know where I'm going now. I'm going to the comment section. I'll talk to you as long as you are there. Good night, Mayor. It was a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to come here and talk with you. If there's something you want me to discuss, leave it in the comment section, okay? And I may try to do that if time will permit. All right. I'll see you tomorrow, 4:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Good evening, Pinky in Simulation, Lanita. Oh, wow. Lanita says, you speaking the truth. I taught for 27 years in Dallas, Texas. Nobody is pushing marketable skills for our children. Right. Thank you, moms. Lanita, we're leaving now. Anthony, hit the like button, subscribe. Make sure you come back. All of you come back tomorrow, 4:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yeah, I appreciate all of your opinions. That's okay, Lanita. Make sure you scroll back so you can watch the video on Dr. Thomas Sowell. It's enlightening. All right, I'm going to the comment section now, and I'll talk to you as long as you're there. All right, everyone have a good evening, and I'll see you now.